first of all, if you cut the throat, after you cut the neck, you cut the spine.
We never claimed it's a painless death for animals. Why are we talking about humans? I don't want to talk about humans. That's not what the discussion is. We never claimed when we slaughter animals, which all civilizations have done since recorded history. We never claimed it's a painless death. It's a necessary evil we have to do. It's just to get them to somehow, be ready for food.
Electrocution is just less painful.
Or be ready as food. Okay,
yeah, I know,
but this is again a back and forth argument. You can argue, no, it causes less pain. I can argue, no, not all. Science really doesn't prove everything. Science recommends.
Science has to be the goat that's getting cut to prove it.
What?
The scientists, they have to become, they have to feel it themselves. If you're not in the shoe of the goat, you can never know how it's for me to have a strawberry. How a strawberry tastes to me, you can never ever. It's subjective.
That experience is subjective.
That experience is personal, yeah. So no, that's just
it varies.
No. Okay, 1 second.
Varies from person to person.
Can you show love? Yeah. Can you say, okay, here you go, Ali. This is what love looks like.
It's a set of hormones and a neural reaction.
Can you see it?
You can see it if you do a tomography.
Can you see the sentiment? The feeling.
The sentiment is just a word that we use to explain it. It's merely.
But can you see the sentiment? Can you actually measure love?
Yes.
Can you actually measure love with the device?
The sentiment does not exist per se. What exists is hormones.
Is there any way to measure love for your children, for your wife, for your mother, for your parents?
Yes, there's not, because love doesn't exist per se.
Exactly.
What exists is our brain.
Yes.
And reactions in the brain. And the hormones that are emitted.
We accept all scientists, all scientific research as valid, as long as it's valid. No. I'm saying as long as it's valid. Yes. Okay. We accept scientific hypotheses, right? As long as they are done within the boundaries of science, we accept them, and we really appreciate the work of the scientists. At the same time, having said that, we do not make science a criteria to judge truth from falsehood, from good to bad, or other things, for example, right? Science has its place. It is absolutely crucial for us to take science into consideration, especially in this day and age when science has advanced quite a lot, and we have to respect science and scientists. At the same time, there are certain questions science does not answer and cannot answer, because science has a clear definition, it has clear boundaries, there's a philosophy of science, there is a scientific method. So science is defined, limited by its own scopes, right? So science does not, for example, God, people try to make God a question of science. God is not a question of science.
It is. It is because
okay, God, first of all, let me explain something to you. Yeah. Science by default depends on nature, right? Or naturalism. Is that correct? Is that a correct statement?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay. God is supernatural. God is a supernatural question. God is beyond nature. We never claim that God is within the natural world.
This is just rhetoric,
No. This is how we see God. Okay, if we see God in that light, I mean, this is the opinion of theists. People who believe in God, for example, the Christians are the only exception that God came on earth.
Your opinion doesn't make it true, That's
no problem. I'm acknowledging my opinion doesn't have to be right. But I'm saying this is how we see God. God is a question of the supernatural. Okay, science has no business there. Science does not indulge in the supernatural. Science cannot, for example, science does not have a view on dreams.
Sorry,
let's say.
Am I not taking a lot of time? Because I've got time, but like if I'm not.
No.
Okay.
So this is how we see science and the question of God or other supernatural questions. Okay, for example, we believe in let's say jinns, demons.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we believe in demons, right? We have our reasons to believe in them, right? Science has nothing to say on demons. Science does not consider the question of demons because it is something supernatural. It is not in the natural world, right? Therefore, science has nothing to say on it. So science is clearly defined, limited to the natural world by naturalism. Is that reasonable?
The problem is that you might be wrong, and you're probably wrong, because the phrase God is supernatural, it's pure rhetoric. You can't, it's just, it's just an expression that has nothing Whereas science is all about proving and, you know, debating, arguing. And you just say,
proving based upon what?
Proving based upon evidence.
Good. Yes. What evidence? What's the nature of evidence in science? What's the definition of evidence in science? Scientifically speaking,
evidence is
applying the philosophy of science, what is evidence?
There are several types of evidence. One is something we can like actually not really see or feel, but measure. You know.
How?
By means, very often by the means of instruments.
What's the nature of evidence? What do you regard evidence? What do you see as evidence?
Well, I told you.
Does it have to be empirical?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
We can mathematically prove something. Like it's been proven mathematically way before we had instruments that we can't reach the speed of light. And we actually can't. It's been proved empirically, but before that we proved it mathematically. Einstein did.
Right, right. Until it was proven empirically.
Yes.
What was the status of it?
We just didn't know.
Okay. So it is empiricism that basically decided the fate or the outcome of this particular question, right?
It's the last, the last station.
Okay.
Yes.
Science is something. Science is based upon hypotheses.
Yes.
Or realities that can be tested, right? That can be assessed, right? That can be put under scrutiny, right?
Yes.
For that, there has to be empirical evidence for the question you are addressing, right? Yes. Well, science cannot address something which cannot be seen, touched, or felt. Is that clear? Do you agree with that?
It can.
How? How?
Well, in Richard Dawkins's book, there is a relatively well-known example of a kettle that is orbiting around the sun, as far as I remember. Like, we can say, well, this kettle is supernatural. It cannot be observed. It cannot be. We can't feel it. We can't touch it. We can't do anything. But there is, there is a kettle. Just deal with it. And we can say.
Okay. How? Why do we have to accept that?
That's the matter of opinion. It's the same.
Okay, what is the evidence for that particular opinion? The evidence. Well, obviously, when someone proposes a theory, I think there is a blue monkey flying around in the heavens.
Yes.
50,000 miles away from here. For me to state that, you will question my assertion. You will question my claim.
Yes.
Evidence, right?
Yeah.
Evidence means something solid you can test, right? You can assess, you can test, and you can come to a conclusion.
Yes.
Whether my assertion is true or false, right? So, how would we assess that claim? It's a claim that there's a blue monkey flying around.
There's no way to assess it.
Scientifically? Yes. Scientifically? Thank you. We're agreeing now. We're agreeing.
Yeah.
Likewise, theists claim there is a transcendental being who created the heavens and the earth, who transcends our natural realm. Therefore, because science cannot test the question of God, cannot assess it, cannot even apply its understanding of evidence to it, therefore, God question is not a question of science.
2 comments.
Yeah. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
First of all, the matter of
do you agree with that, Sheikh Mansur?
The matter of religion can actually be assessed because we know quite well how religions are born. We know about Mormonism. We know about cargo cults.
Are we moving on to something else now?
No. I'm just telling you that you said that like religion and God cannot be scientifically.
No, not religion. Some of the religious claims can be put under scrutiny because there could be empirical evidence for that stuff. I'm saying where you cannot find empirical evidence for a notion, for an assertion, for an idea, science has nothing to say on that because science needs evidence to comment, to create a hypothesis or a number of hypotheses. Science needs evidence. If there is no evidence, which is...
What scientific proof will demonstrate without a shadow of doubt that the Creator exists?
Could you repeat it once again, please?
What scientific proof will you accept that the Creator exists if that was given?
So he's saying, what scientific proof will prove to you that a Creator exists? What sort of proof would you need?
If it's a scientific question, then there must be a scientific
way
to prove it.
Yes.
If
it's a question of science.
If scientists will demonstrate conclusively that the hypothesis, the theory that makes most sense is that the one which involves the creator. This is the evidence I will accept.
Such as, what is the nature of the evidence?
Such as, if we were to take all the theories and compare them point by point, and it would be demonstrated that evolutionary theory, other theories explain the origin of life a lot worse than the creator theory.
The question is about existence of a creator, not about how the world works. So what sort of scientific proof will make you
The existence of a creator,
make you
because
convinced that the creator exists?
the nature of the universe is one thing.
Asking proof basically.
Yeah.
What is the proof?
You see, no, let me. The nature of the universe is one thing. That's one question, and the existence of the creator or a creator is another question. What scientific proof would you need to prove the existence of a creator?
But didn't I tell you this?
No, you didn't. No, you're talking about the nature of the universe, how universe works, how human origin works. You're talking about these things. We're not talking about the creator yet. So what scientific proof would we need to prove a creator?
But, well, don't we accept that the creator is the part of the universe?
No, we don't accept that.
Then that does really make sense, because there's nothing, according to the definition of the universe, there's nothing outside of the universe.
So you now agree with that man that it's not a scientific question. It is not within the scope of science to talk about the creator.
Thank you.
It's not in the universe.
Is that now, because now you've understood my...
That's what I wanted. That was my second point. Doesn't it?
Just because the mic cannot hear Mansur. Now, are we in agreement now that having discussed these few points, we agree that based upon this discussion, God is not a question of science?
If we agree that...
because we believe God is beyond the universe.
Well, then yes.
Okay, we agree.
Now I'm arriving to the second point.
Right.
Doesn't it sound absurd that we were talking about a kettle in the sky or a monkey 50,000 kilometers away, and you said, can you prove it? No, you can't. Okay. You could replace a kettle, with God, and the meaning would remain the
Still
same.
not a question of science.
Yes.
It's a question of philosophy.
But doesn't it sound absurd? Doesn't it sound absurd to you? We talk about a flying kettle, and we actually compare a flying kettle.
Question is simple.
No, this is a question. It's not a question of science. We're still in agreement. You're right. Absolutely. One can claim anything is out there. Absolutely. But is it a question of science? We have already demonstrated that God is not a question of science. Now, it is a question of philosophy. Philosophically, by reasoning, by intelligent reasoning, we can show you the philosophical reasons as to why God exists. Because science does not have the scope to reach there. It stops. Where empirical evidence stops, science stops. Where naturalism stops, science stops, right? It doesn't go beyond that, right? For that reason, God is a question of philosophy. So from philosophy, from using arguments, philosophical arguments, we can show you why God exists, why he has to exist. So that's a different... Now again, talking about a blue monkey flying 50,000 miles away from here is a question of philosophy. It's not a question of science. Philosophically, if I can show you reasonably well that there is a monkey 50,000 miles away from here flying around in space, if I can give you reasons for that, then you can either accept my reasons or reject those reasons.
Well, philosophy is weak. You know, philosophy...
No, it's not weak. Philosophy is at the core of science. Without the philosophy of science, you do not have science.
Well, philosophy...
If you remove philosophy from science, there is no science. Do you agree?
Yes,
even science has...
Yes.
So therefore, then philosophy is...
You know why the reason why philosophy exists even in science? Because
science needs it.
No.
Without philosophy of science, science wouldn't make sense.
No, because reality is objective.
Right.
It doesn't really matter what we think of things. They are just what they are.
Based upon the philosophies we have chosen to follow.
The thing is, the problem is that we are, as the machines that analyze the world, we are also biased, and the only way we can kind of tame this bias is by the means of philosophy. But something we have to deal with it, and fortunately, science is not all about philosophy.
I never said that.
Can I ask you a question on the very questions I've got? I think we just going to go around.
Yes.
You see, I want to dismantle an understanding from atheists.
Yes.
Because I don't think they're really... Now, come close to you. Okay.
No, I'll sit there. I need rest.
No.
Please carry on.
Okay, let's keep it there. You see, atheists often tell us
Yes.
that there are no real evidence to believe in a creator. The reason they are atheists is because of the absence of solid evidence, right?
Yes.
Because of the absence of evidence. Now, if I were to ask any atheist, what evidence would satisfy you that the creator exists?
Well, I told you you were not happy with it.
Can you repeat that again?
I told you my evidence would be okay. God obviously has something to do with the with creation of life. If he's the creator, he has something to do with the creation of life. Yes, am I right?
Yeah.
So now we're back to the question of the creation of life. If we accept the definition of God as someone who created the life, that's one of his functions. Then we would have to look at the theories of origin of life. And if most scientists, were to prove conclusively, without many doubts, that the theory that involves the creator, the creationism, is the most solid theory, then I would probably change my mind. However, right now that's not the case, because evolutionary theory is a lot stronger than the creation theory.
It's just a theory out of many. How is that? How?
No.
There are many models of how life began.
Yeah, but
Yep.
evolutionary is obviously the best.
Hang on. Matter, right? Is matter eternal in your worldview? Let's put the atheist in their comfort zone, or take it out of their comfort zone. Matter existed before life, according to the scientific understanding that we have today. Is matter here eternally existing, or did it have a beginning of existence?
It is unknown. It is unknown. According, like most physicists believe that matter will gradually devolve. So molecules will break into atoms. Atoms will break into.
That's the outcome.
parts.
But the origin of matter. I mean, let's put it this way: existence, could it come from non-existence?
Yes.
What is non-existence?
Non-existence. Look, like we've got hydrogen, we've got oxygen, but the water does not exist yet. Now we do a chemical reaction.
Yep.
Bam, we've got water. So
Did it come from non-existence?
yes,
No, it came from hydrogen and oxygen.
but water as water did not exist.
No. The water, which is existence, it came from existence, which is hydrogen and oxygen. So can you give me an example where existence arises from non-existence? There was nothing.
What is non-existence in your opinion?
Good question. So this is what atheists understand. This is where Professor Lawrence needs to revise his book title and to say the universe from something in his next edition. This is an advice to Professor Lawrence Krauss. He's a very smart gentleman. So non-existence is simply a way of defining the absence of any existence. Absence of gravity, absence of quanta, absence of fluctuations, absence of energy fields, absence of everything. That's non-existence. So can non-existence in that definition give rise to existence like us?
Yeah, if I were a scientist, I'd probably give you a more detailed answer. But I personally don't know. But if you want to,
I've defined what non-existence is.
I know. I personally don't know.
And which scientist do you think will answer that existence can come from non-existence?
Scientists don't operate with such,
Just need to put into this straight question, because they often seem to be hiding around jargon, right? The universe from nothing. Have you read that book?
No.
Right. I suggest you read that book and then you realize at all of this book, at the end, he's actually arguing the universe came from something. And the whole book title is The Universe from Nothing. What a real deception by a world-renowned, esteemed professor, a scientist. I asked him one of this book signing, and you know what he said? But I explain it in my book, that my nothing is something. No, nothing is nothing. Don't redefine nothing as something. That's a deception. So can non-existence, which is absolutely nothing, give rise to existence?
Well, as I told you, I don't know. Maybe
You do know. You do know. But you're not willing to accept it. In my definition, this non-existent doesn't have anything, no energy, no quanta, no fluctuations, no gravity, no virtual reality, virtual worlds or virtual particles, absence of everything. Such a thing, which is no thing, cannot give rise to something. That by definition. If we exist now as something, can there be any time when there was absolute nothingness?
You know what? Let me tell you something. The best thing about science, what I like the most about science, is that scientists are not afraid to say we don't know. We don't know. We've got no conclusive answer yet. Unlike religion. Religion knows everything. Science does not.
Can you focus on the question?
I'm focusing on the question. I'm just telling you. You're talking about definitions, nothing, something. Linguistics, they have nothing to do with this, you know.
Can science operate without logic and language?
Science operates with logic. Science
Logic
obviously
and
operates with
language. Can you have logic without language?
But scientists do not use the like the morphemes, the way the word is constructed, to reason something.
Okay. Do you know why? Do you know this question is very difficult for the atheists? Do you know that? Do you know how many atheists I've discussed this question with? And every single time, the atheist is on the back foot, and as if like, it's time to go home. You know, I've got a party to attend, or we don't know. Many
Why
other
are you so
excuses.
belligerent?
Listen.
No.
No. What does it mean belligerent?
Belligerent, like you're waging a war against.
Look, I'm not waging a war against you. I'm simply saying, you know what something is. If I say I have no money in my wallet, you don't mean, oh, but you may have a bank that you can borrow money from. You may have a friend. I'm simply saying I have no money on my wallet. If I have no money on my wallet, and I have no banks, and I have no friends to borrow or anyone to borrow, can I give you £50?
Obviously you can't.
Why not?
You've got no sources of money.
So I have no money. You understand what no money is?
Yeah, but that's because we agree what no
Hang on.
money means.
Right.
Yes.
So you know what no money means? No money. Nothing means no thing. So can no thing make something? It's simple. It's simple. But it's the reason why you are not willing to accept it, because it has consequences of accepting it. Because that means two things. I'll tell you. You don't have to answer it. It's a rhetorical statement. I've asked many times, and I know the answers many times, but given. If something exists today, there has to be always something. Problem number one. Now we are dealing with eternality of something. Something always has to exist. Always. Either it's our universe, our cosmos, or another universe or another verse, multiverse that gave rise to the universe. There has to be something always in existence. Or the creator who created this cosmos, who has to always exist. You have no other option. So now the atheists are put on a really difficult corner, and that is why you will find it difficult. Maybe you are an exception. Maybe you can tell me actually no. Nothing which has nothing whatsoever can give rise to something in this way. Would you like to share that with me?
You seem to be so obsessed with common sense reasoning. Do you know that common sense is actually bullshit?
Can you talk about something and nothing rather than common sense,
I'm
right?
talking about this. I'm talking about...
You talk about everything else apart from this subject matter.
Sorry, could you please be a bit more calmer, because I don't like the way you're talking to me.
I wasn't talking to you. I'm just talking to the crowd at the same time. They have to listen to me. Some people have to listen to me as well. So I'm going to shout at them, not at you. If you think I'm shouting at you, I do apologize. It's not intentional.
7 to 8 minutes.
No problem. No problem. So we need to really have an answer in 7 to 8 minutes in this discussion, God willing.
I just want to tell you why I disagree with your reasoning in general. When you talk about the example with the money and nothing and something, the definition of these words, you're involving common sense, yes?
Common sense is not good. Carry on.
Yes, but many things actually that are true go against common sense. They go against what we find obvious. And that's why I say I don't know. From the point of common sense, it seems impossible for something to appear out of nothing. But again, I know that there are a lot of things in nature that seem like.
Have you seen anything coming out from nothing? Have you seen anything coming out of nothing? Because a scientist observes. It's an observation method. Scientism or science is based on observation and repeatability. Have you seen anything coming out of nothing?
I've seen a plane coming out of the sky, out of nothing. This is the reasoning.
If this is the level of your scientific inquiry, then I suggest you need to learn a bit more about science, how it works. This plane didn't just pop into existence, just like that. It came from a particular place, maybe I call it an airport, right? So if you were to say, for example, when you talk against common sense and intuition, maybe you don't exist. It's possible, right? Is it possible? Is it possible, even though it's counterintuitive, goes against common sense, maybe you don't exist? Is it possible?
If we agree on the definition of the word exist, then yeah.
Why do definition become important now? That's exactly what I was trying to do earlier. I was defining my nothing, and I was defining what something. If you are going to base your argument, base the arguments on the definitions that we're working on. So our working model, like evolution, doesn't mean banana come from apes. That doesn't mean, that's not how evolution works, right? It's defined in a particular working paradigm. Likewise, nothing has a definition, something have a definition. If you really want to discuss this matter, this is the subject. Sorry.
I have accepted.
Can something arise from nothing? Simple.
Is it going online, by the way? Is it going online?
It's probably live as well. So people are in.
I want to watch myself later.
Yeah, do watch it. So now, engage with me, please. Can something arise from absolute nothing?
I told you already, and I'll repeat my answer. You'll tell me, no, you do know, but I will still say I do not know, and I've got my reasons to say that.
What are your reasons?
The reasons I told you, that first of all, a lot of things are counterintuitive, and even if I accept the definition of nothing as the absence of matter, from the perspective of common sense, it seems improbable. But then I understand that, well, it can happen, maybe I just don't understand it. Because brains are biased. Brains are the product of evolution. Of course they are biased. No, we can't see the we can't see the small water droplets, we can't see molecules, but bacteria probably can. That's the reason. They can sense them. Also, what I was trying to say, sorry, I study statistics at a university, and the normal distribution, the bell curve, it looks like this, and it fades very quickly. But the range, the domain of which it is defined, is minus infinity to plus infinity, which means that if we were to take, predict a height of a person, the average height is say 175. The deviation is 10 centimeters, which would tell us that 99% of the people are within the range of 145 to 205 centimeters. But statistically, we can find a person who's
50 meters tall.
Yes.
50 meters tall, yeah?
Yes, statistically we can. Because
50 meters tall, a person. Do you know how much is 50 meters?
I know.
How much? Can you show me? Roughly the size of the tree?
2 trees.
Yeah, so we can find a person 50 meters tall.
Yes. The probability would be probably 10 to the minus 500, so it would be almost zero, but it will never be zero. Like, you can Google normal distribution,
Sure.
You could see the bell curve, it doesn't...
Can I give you an example of something that... Let's see how you put it in your distribution curve.
Yes.
A triangle with 4 sides.
A triangle with 4 sides?
Yeah. Put it on your distribution curve and tell me... Please, yes. I'm giving you an example of a triangle with 4 sides. Is it possible? Don't say it's impossible, because in your definition, everything is possible, maybe highly improbable.
You're wrong.
Okay, so something coming out of nothing, is it probable or impossible?
You're wrong about triangles. I'm not going
No, I'm talking about examples now.
No,
so when we talk
this
about...
example is flawed. You know why? Because
why is it
all
flawed?
triangles have 3 sides by definition. So
by definition.
100%.
Exactly.
100% of triangles. This is not a normal distribution.
Right.
This has nothing to do with normality.
So you answered my question. Thank you very much. By definition, a triangle has 3 sides, not 4 sides. So you cannot talk about a triangle having 4 sides or 5 sides because by definition it's restricted to 3 sides. By definition, my nothing was restricted to absence of everything. So you cannot then say, when the absence of everything is, it can bring about something. Nonsense. Do you see how your counterintuitiveness doesn't help? Because now I can say, look, it's counterintuitive to have a triangle with 4 sides. It's counterintuitive. How can you have it? How can you have a triangle with 4 sides? It's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. I'm arguing on your behalf. It doesn't make sense. But you will then say, but it's possible. But you argue again against yourself. But it's not possible because of definition. So I've already defined, by definition, nothing is the absence of everything. So how can it even make something when it doesn't even have anything? It has no energy to make anything. It has no gravity, no fields, no quanta, no quarks, no leptons, hadrons, gluons, boson, Higgs, whatever. It cannot originate something. This is how simple it is to dismantle the atheist claims. The claim I was asking to dismantle about this atheist of not yourself, you may be a very interesting individual with views which are not really crazy as many atheists. Atheists believe or non-believe in a creator because of the absence of belief. If you ask them, what belief, what will make you believe, what evidence? There is no evidence on planet Earth or in our cosmos that you can give that will convince them, because there is no evidence that will be convincing. That means the question of, oh, I'm atheist because there's no evidence, is really a very rhetorical statement, because you are not open to any evidence. So you're simply saying there is no...
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the audience? Because
now, would you like to tell me about something and nothing? What are your reasons, apart from counterintuitiveness, that nothing can generate something?
Sorry, this is just crazy, because you said something about atheists, that atheists believe that the creator does not exist. That's not how a mind of a scientifically based atheist works. That's not scientists.
What scientific proof would convince them? You said about the origins of life, right? Let's focus on that. Develop that. Origins of life. Yeah. Obviously, no scientist was there, so it's a projection. It's just
modeling.
It's just the modeling, right?
But there
so
is
now,
evidence, actually. There is evidence.
No. These are all abiogenesis. How many models of abiogenesis are there? Many. Okay. And still, scientists won't say this is how it happened.
There is a dominant,
yeah. Again, these are all theories. You cannot say this is exactly how it happened, can you?
Why some theories are more popular with others?
I'm not interested in popularity. I'm interested in proof. There is a difference between popular theories and proof. For example, the Earth, many people come here and they discuss the Earth is actually a flat disk.
Yes.
Right. Now, to them, there are many popular theories. They don't want to accept it as a fact when actually you can go outside the Earth and observe it all around, whether it's a disk or not. They're not willing to that evidence. I'm asking, what evidence will convince atheists that the creator exists? The evidence that the universe was life was created by a God. How do you know God created it? Because it may be counterintuitive that God created it, and you are open to that possibility. You can't bring that as an evidence.
He hasn't got the answer, bro.
No. You're finding it difficult. I'll tell you why you're finding it difficult to speak to me. Because you're finding like this person is so difficult to reason with. Why? Because I'm putting you in a corner. The corner that the atheists are trying to escape from. Not yourself only. No, you're not the only one.
Salam corner.
In the salam corner.
I actually like talking to you.
I know. So I'm going to leave it to you.
You let me.
Yeah. He will let you speak and get out of the corner. But
No.
No atheists come out of the corner. They remain there.
You can speak to him. You know everything, but let me tell you.
I didn't say I know anything.
No, I didn't. You didn't let me answer the questions. You were fundamentally wrong about atheists. Fundamentally wrong.
You had your chance. You can speak to my brother. He's more willing to listen to you.
You need to watch yourself on YouTube.
Okay.